This is Showtime Sean Porter.
This is Earl Spin Jr.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse Vargas.
And you're watching True School Sports.
You're watching True School Sports.
All right, and you're watching True School Sports.
Stay tuned.
Alright, so what's going on? It's your boy BT. And the heavyweight division, this is a division with a lot of history, a lot of tradition. We had names like Muhammad Ali, names like Joe Louis. We walk over here, we got Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes, Jerry Coney. The list goes on and on, plenty of great heavyweights. We're here at Stacey, King Cobra's gym here in Pompano. And we sat down with Stacey to talk about the heavyweight division, past, present, future, and just everything in between. So here it is. All right, Brendan Taylor here at True School Sports. I'm with Stacey McKinley. First of all, great to see you, Stacey.
Great to see you.
Many people may not know this about you, but you are, from what many people have said, one of the best heavyweight trainers in boxing. You train the likes of Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs, Tony Tucker, Alexander Povetkin, and the list goes on and on. Michael Moore, light heavyweight guy, Samuel Peter. Just tell me, what is it about, you and heavyweights? Why do people label you as a heavyweight trainer?
I don't know. It's kind of it was something just got stuck with. I mean, I started hearing this around boxing, and I was like, well, why is this? Why are they saying this? And I never really gave it any thought. And the guys like matchmakers like Rizzo, Sam Watson, Don King, and all these people saying the same thing. I get all these calls about heavyweights. So I said, well, maybe there's something to that. So, and I know that I like heavyweights. I fought heavyweight myself. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But that's what they say.
Absolutely. What's your when you look at the current heavyweights of today? What do you make of this heavyweight division that we have going on today?
Well, I think that the heavyweight division is on the rise. We got Anthony Joshua. We got Deontay Wilder. He's a good fighter. We got a lot of upcoming young kids that's coming up that's really good. So I think the heavyweight division is going to flourish, And if Joshua can stay at the top, if he can stay there, I think that and improve his skills and his technique, we need a lot of work. There's a lot of work that he can do. He'll be around for a long time. I also know that Wilder is a good fighter, and he's a dangerous fighter. He's unpredictable in the ring. A comparison to another fighter I had by the name of Ricardo Mariogo. So when they asked me about Wilder, I said Wilder's a gunslinger. So you don't know what he's going to do. Just like Ricardo Mariogo, he was a gunslinger. When Don King called me for Mariogo to fight Vernon Forrest, they said, well, Mariogo can't beat Vernon Forrest. I said, oh, he can beat him. I said, you're going to knock him out. And after watching him work out one time, because I knew he was a gunslinger. And that's what Wilder is. Wilder's a gunslinger. Now Joshua is more methodical, but Joshua need a lot of work. If you get a lot of work, he need to work on his jab, his combination. He need to be a little bit more methodical, and a lot of things that he can do in the ring that he's not doing, that he'll be around for a long time.
Okay, you mentioned both of them. You obviously mentioned Joshua. You say there's a lot of things he can work on. What specifically that you see that he can work on to be the best version of himself, to be the best heavyweight version of it that he can be moving forward?
Well, one thing about it is he has the ability. He has the ability. See, let's start with his left jab. Okay, he has a good jab. We only have one type of a jab. He has the ability and talent to have 4 or 5 different types of jabs that he can change up on his jabs and change up on it, which will also cause him to change up on his combination and play shots. Okay, his defense is basically a peekaboo type thing, and I don't like that peekaboo style because I was taught that those little gloves, they can get through that.
Yeah.
Okay, why get hit? The name of the game is hit, not get hit. So I don't think he uses jab properly, and I think it's because he hasn't been taught. And I don't think that his right hand is a good right hand, but there's 2 or 3 different types of right hands, and he's only throwing one. He's throwing a mean, vicious uppercut, but he's not really setting up for it. He's just throwing it because the guys are falling on him. So there's a lot of work right there. If once his trainers get work on these different things, I think he'll be around for a long time.
Okay, I know one of your favorite fighters is Larry Holmes, and when you mentioned the whole thing about Joshua having 4 or 5 jabs, that's kind of like Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes had 3, 4, 5 different types of jabs. So should he correct those things? Do you see him being like the most dominant heavyweight in the division? Like he's able to get those skills you were talking about?
Yeah, right now he's the most dominant heavyweight right now.
Without it, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if he add these different skills and techniques to what he already have, he'll be around for a long time. I mean, like 10, 15 years. But the young guys are coming up, and if he doesn't do it, they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it'll catch up to him eventually.
Right, he'll catch up with him.
How do you think, well, we talk about Joshua, how about the other guy, how about Wilder? Like, what do you see, like, obviously there's a lot to be made of his style. What do you see, like, that he could do better, you know, as far as his skill set?
Well, Wilder will be Wilder. It's nothing you can do with Wilder. Wilder is Wilder. Wilder is a gunslinger. This is like the old West. Okay, you got to get him in shape. He's an athlete. You got to get him in shape, put him in the ring, let him do his thing. Because he's not the type of fighter that you can predict what he's going to do, and you really can't tell him, well, you should go out and you should fight this way, you should fight that way. So you got to put his basic skills and fundamentals together and wind him up and say, go to work and be Wilder, because he's a gunslinger. It's just like the Wild Wild West. And he got some guns to sling, so it's very difficult fighting him also.
Okay. He's a gunslinger. Joshua's a guy that, you know, he's good, but he hasn't reached his potential yet. How do you see their styles meshing in the ring if they were to fight?
Well, personally, I don't think Wilder would beat Joshua. I really don't think he could beat Joshua. I think that Joshua basically is too strong. He's too strong. He punches too hard, and Wilder get hit with certain combinations and certain punches that Joshua was good at. I mean, if Joshua hit him with a left hook or hit him with a right hand, it's all over with for him. Now, on the other hand, if Wilder could land that good straight right hand on Joshua, then it may be all over with for him. But Joshua, it's been proven that Joshua can take a decent shot, because he got hit by Vladimir Klitschko. And Vladimir, that's the best Vladimir Klitschko that I've seen throughout his career. So he beat a great fighter that night in Vladimir, and he was down and he got up. Also, that being said, that particular punch landed high on his head, on his cheekbone, basically. If that shot had hit him directly on the chin, he may have been lights out. So it all and heavyweights can go either way. So it's hard to predict, but you got to have an insight. You got to be able to see these things in dealing with heavyweights, and a lot of stuff have to do with personalities, mental strength and personalities. So all of this, you got to deal with all that also, and also have to do with timing. In the heavyweight division, throughout the history of the heavyweight division, right when you think the business is down, somebody comes up. They just like Muhammad Ali came up after Joe Louis, Larry Holmes come up, some great fighter come up, Tyson came up. Yeah. So some great fighter is coming up to keep it going, and God made it that way. Now Joshua is the one that's carrying it now. So you got to be real careful, because God made it, somebody got the lead, and right now Joshua is the leader.
Absolutely, he's leading the pack right now. He's doing 100,000 tickets and whatnot. Yeah. When you look at Joshua too, like I want to ask this as well. When you look at Joshua, you've been around for a long time. You've seen the best heavyweights to roam the planet. You know, are there any qualities he has that you see in the ring that maybe make you say, "Wow, he reminds me of this guy"? Anything you see?
Well, not really. Not really. I can't just put my hands and say, well, Joshua fight like this guy, or Joshua fight like this guy. It's very hard. I can't make a comparison to Joshua Muhammad Ali. I can't make a comparison with Joshua and a lot of other fighters, Larry Holmes. Maybe you could make a comparison with Joshua and Shannon Briggs, although technically Shannon Briggs is a much better fighter than Joshua. So you got to, it's very hard to say, but Shannon Briggs is probably closer than anybody else.
Like a young Shannon Briggs.
A young Shannon Briggs, yeah.
Okay. All right. I wanted to get into this too because, you know, it's been said that you are by a lot of people, that you are one of the best heavyweight trainers. Some would even say second to the great Eddie Futch. These are things that I've heard from people from the boxing world. I wanted to do this because I found this pretty interesting. Just kind of a face-off comparison of the guys you trained, and you know, similar guys, you know, fighting each other. Like Eddie Futch trained the likes of guys like, you know, Joe Frazier, Larry Holmes, Riddick Bowe, Ken Norton, Jimmy Young, Leon Spinks, or Michael Spinks, Michael Spinks. And then like Frazier, you know, you guys could have a card of the guys you trained, the world champions you trained. You could have Frazier versus Mike Tyson. You could have Larry Holmes versus Tony Tucker. Riddick Bowe versus a Shannon Briggs. You know, Jimmy Young versus Samuel Peter. Ken Norton versus Povetkin, because you trained Povetkin. Leon Spinks, or not, it's Michael Spinks versus Michael Moore. Just when you look at the resumes of you two guys, like, how do you think they stack up?
Well, you know, it's great comparison.
Yeah.
Although a lot of those fighters' career, like Larry Holmes, and their careers were a lot longer than most of the fighters. Now, Tyson had a pretty good run, but most of those guys had short careers. At the top, you look at Shannon Briggs. You know, he stayed at the top for a while, but he got there twice. So you look at Tony Tucker. Now, Tony Tucker is probably technically better than all of them. He's better than all of them. I once told Mike, the best fighter you ever fought was Tony Tucker. That was the best fighter he ever fought. And he fought him in his prime. I think Tony was only 28 years old. He's undefeated and IBF champion. I also told Lennox Lewis that Tony Tucker made you. That was the best fight that you ever had. Best fighter you ever fought was Tony Tucker. So if you beat a Tony Tucker, especially a young Tony Tucker, then you got to be a hell of a fighter. That's all there is to it, because Tony had exceptional skills. He could box, he could think, he was quick, he was tall, he could make little men. He was a big guy with middleweight moves.
Yeah.
He was quick on his feet. He could do it all because he started out at 60 pounds, so he carried his little man skills all up to the heavyweight. So it's very hard to find a fighter as complete as Tony Tucker in the heavyweight division. And then also you got to deal with styles, but his style is supposed to beat any style.
Yeah. Now, Tony Tucker, a guy that, you know, I think in many ways he gets overlooked because, you know, he didn't have the belt very long. What about like, for example, like you got at the top here, and this is actually a fantasy match, but I see like in a lot of boxing groups, and I hear boxing fans argue this all the time. Joe Frazier versus Mike Tyson, two guys with similar styles. How do you think that would have played out?
Well, technically, Mike Tyson was a better fighter than Joe Frazier. Now, Joe Frazier had that vicious left hook. He had the biggest heart in boxing. He had the determination to win. So when a fighter got that determination and the mental strength, and he has that dangerous left hook that's coming, it's very hard. It's very hard to hold a fighter like that back because he's mentally strong. The old time you see all the time, Stacey, the fighter's in the head. Luther Versus, the guy who told me about staying out of the cameras and all this, was one of the great underrated trainers of all times. He trained Emmanuel Stewart. He was trained himself by Eddie Futch. But he's always taught me that when you're dealing especially with heavyweights, he said a heavyweight need a jab, a piece of left hook, and a right hand, and condition. If you got those three things, those three or four things, the next thing you got to work on is the mind. If you work on the mind, you can win. Now, I took what he said for the gospel of boxing because he would take Class C fighters and defeat Class A fighters. And basically it's because of mind motivation. So he proved to us that, look, you don't have to, even when Hagler got his first loss, there was Luther in the corner. Now, but Tyson had two hands. Joe had one, Tyson had two hands. Tyson was quicker than Joe. Tyson could hit harder than Joe. The Tyson that was fighting before he was incarcerated was mentally as strong as Joe. So I have to go with Tyson against Joe Frazier, although I can't take anything from Joe.
Joe's a great fighter. Yeah. What about interesting one here? Ken Norton versus Alexander Povetkin.
Well, I think that Alexander Povetkin would have gave Ken Norton a decent fight. I don't think he could dominate over Ken Norton because Norton was big and he was awkward. He's a very awkward guy. He had those overhand rights, and his style just was kind of like Wilder. You know, you really don't know where your punch is coming from, and this is why he gave Muhammad Ali such hard fights. I don't think Ali ever beat. I watched the fights, but I don't think Ali ever beat Ken Norton. I think Ken Norton won those fights.
Yeah.
But it all come down to style. So Povetkin wasn't the Muhammad Ali, so he wouldn't have been able to stay there with Ken Norton.
No, absolutely. The size would have probably given him a lot of problems.
Size and styles.
Interesting. I've actually asked this heavyweight about this in person before, and I know it's not on the face-off, but Riddick Bowe, great heavyweight, didn't really live up to the potential, whatnot, but still great heavyweight. Riddick Bowe versus Mike Tyson. That fight never happened, but like prime for prime, like, do you think Mike Tyson would have been able to deal with the size of Bowe?
Well, Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson, I had to go with Tyson. I had to go with the young Tyson, the 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Now, not taking anything from Riddick Bowe, because Riddick Bowe was a great fighter. In fact, I heard Eddie Futch say one time that he had the potential to be the greatest of all time. But I don't see where he could have beat the young Mike Tyson, because I don't think he could withstand that pressure, and I don't think he could withstand those punches. But Mike was quick and he hit so hard, and it all depends on how Bowe gonna react. How would he react to a Tyson punch? Can he take it? Can he absorb the shot? Will it shake him up? Being there with Tyson, knowing that Tyson is vicious, a young Tyson, I don't know if Riddick Bowe would have beat Tyson or not, even with the size.
Yeah, because he was 6'5", but he had this bad habit of like fighting down to the height of guys. Like in the first Holyfield fight, you saw him want to sit there and just fight on the inside and show his inside skills. So I don't know. I think that would have worked against him in the Tyson fight.
Well, the thing about Holyfield is this: you have to understand. Like I told you, there's a lot of, especially different heavyweights, there's a psychological thing there with Bowe fighting Holyfield. It's what you just said. They'll go back and they'll tell Bowe, said, look, this guy here is not a heavyweight. He's not a true heavyweight. He's a blown up heavyweight. He's a cruiserweight. Okay, he's not a big puncher. He's not this. He's not that. They'll tell the fighter all of these different things, but you take a good close look at Holyfield and look at Holyfield's resume. His resume is second to Muhammad Ali, because Holyfield fought some great fighters and defeated them. And Holyfield, in fact, when Holyfield got ready to fight Mike, I made a call to Angelo Dundee, and I talked to Angelo Dundee, and I said, "What do you think about this fight?" And so Angelo told me, he said, "Look, I'm going to explain something to you. Holyfield been in there with those big punches. He been hit by those big heavyweights, and he absorbed them punches. So you can't just go on the power that Mike gonna go out there and knock him out." And I totally agree with him. But anyway, Riddick Bowe somewhat knew that he was bigger than Holyfield, but I don't think Riddick Bowe thought he was going to have a fight he was going to have with Holyfield. So it was a hell of a fight. Holyfield, one of the greatest fighters ever lived, and he's one of the smartest one, and he's a mama's boy.
That he is.
He's very, very smart. I love talking to him about boxing. He has a good understanding about boxing, and actually, the man walked around 195 pounds on fight night. He come in at 210 and 212, but his determination, his heart's so big, he has such a great chin. It's unbelievable. So it's a tough fight. You saw the fights between him and Bowe, but Bowe won the fights, but it's tough. It's really tough.
No, it would be. Holyfield, one of the greatest fighters to ever live, really.
Yes,
and I'm just like you. I love talking to him about. I just saw earlier this month. I love talking to him about boxing. Like, he could talk to you for days. He blue in the face about boxing.
Yeah, he know boxing.
Yeah.
He know it inside and out. And like I told you, getting back to what Luther Virgil said about the mind game. When I talk to Holyfield, he always talk about my mama. My mama told me this. My mama said this. He's a mama's boy.
Yeah.
Now, when you get a fighter that's a mama's boy, you got something on your hand, because he listened to a mama. Now, his mother told him when he got ready to fight Tyson that Tyson was no more than a bully. So you got to stay on top of a bully, get to beat the bull out of it. And his mother told him that. But his philosophy is, and Holyfield will tell you, he say, you might kill me, but I'm gonna try to kill you first.
He said
now,
that.
he really believed that, and that's the way he fought. That means I'm not giving up. I'm gonna stay here. You gonna kill me? I'm gonna kill you, but I'm gonna try to kill you first. And that's what he told me, and I know, and that's what he fought.
Yeah.
He fought with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's just a great comparison there. I want to run through it again just so people know.
Yeah.
Eddie Futch, Stacey McKinley, heavyweight face-off, guys they trained. You have Joe Frazier versus Mike Tyson. You have Larry Holmes versus Tony Tucker. You have Riddick Bowe versus Shannon Briggs. Jimmy Young versus Samuel Peter. Ken Norton versus Alexander Povetkin. And then you have Michael Spinks versus Michael Moore. So just, yeah, great lineup there.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this too. you're not someone, it's the fact that you're in front of this camera talking about heavyweights is great. I'm enjoying it. But I wanted to ask you, why is it that you're not as well known as, say, like the other trainers in boxing? Your name's not out there as much.
Well, going back to the old timers like Luther Burgess, the guy I was just telling you about the mind game, he also mentored me young. He said, look, stay out of the cameras, don't take a lot of pictures. You're not, and Angelo Dundee said it also, you're not the star. The fighter is the star. Okay, you the star maker. So you don't need to be out there and out front. Stay in the background and just do your job. And I've been that way ever since. I just stayed away from the cameras. If you notice, a lot of time I turn my head sideways to the camera. I avoided it because I understand that I'm not the star, I'm the star maker. And a lot of trainers get out there and say, well, I'm a great trainer, I'm the best trainer ever lived, and all of that. There's no such thing as the best trainer ever lived. There's many great trainers, and many good trainers, and many trainers are not so great but become successful. So it's very difficult. I was fortunate to be around 5 or 6 world-class trainers that had different styles. So this is why you notice I can train boxers, I can train sluggers, and I can train fighters. Now I got this kid from Belgium. This kid is a fighter. But why I do so well with him? Mike Tyson is a fighter. Tony Tucker is a boxer. My young kid, Trevor Bryan is a boxer. Shannon Briggs is a boxer. So I can learn to work with all of the different guys and different styles. And, because I had the trainers. I had the trainers in Detroit. And Evander Holyfield was a great fight manager and a great matchmaker. So it goes back to the old school, and I had open-minded about it. And I watch a lot of films and do a lot of study and stay humble.
Absolutely, keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah, keep your feet on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting because you kind of adapt to the fighter. You kind of take the fighters as they are, and you kind of just refine what they're already good at and tighten it up.
But I call it, you got to train the fighter the way that God made him. Okay. Fighter come to me, I say, okay, we'll go in there and shadow box. You go in there and shadow box 1 round, automatically I know, okay, this is this type of fighter, he's best at this, he can't do this. It's like I tell Trevor Bryan, I said, look, there's certain things I don't teach you because they ain't gonna do no good. Because you can't implement it in the ring. And it's bad for your defense. So you got to be able to see all these different things. It is easy to see in heavyweights. I can see it in heavyweights, it's like 1, 2, 3, it's easy. Little fighters, you have to put a little bit more into them because the combinations, their mindset is different than heavyweights. Heavyweight is a totally different beast. He's a different dinosaur. So you got to deal with him different. Most of them are very humble. Well, your little fighters are mean and vicious, but most of your heavyweights are humble people because all their life they've been told it's because of his size. Guy 6 feet tall, 5'11", 13 years old. His friend, he's about 5 feet. So y'all been told, son, don't be so rough with Johnny. You too big. So they become very humble. They become very humble, and you got to understand it. You got to know how to bring out. You get them to put the humbleness to the side and bring out that killer in them. So you got to be able to see it right off the bat.
Yeah. What do you think has allowed you to see it more so than other trainers?
The one thing about it, because I fought heavyweight myself, and I fought a lot of tall heavyweights, big ones, wide ones, smart ones, not so smart ones. So when you do that, you get a feel of it. It's a lot different than somebody telling you, well, you got to fight a heavyweight like this. You never fought a heavyweight. How you know? Heavyweight is different. They say, well, all heavyweights are big punchers, but they don't realize most heavyweights are slow. They are very slow, but they can be slow to be methodical like George Foreman. So it doesn't make any difference. But you got to be able to see it. You got to be able to feel it. Some guys, well, this guy is 6'6", weighed 240 pounds. He's a killer. I weighed 185 pounds starting out. I knocked out a whole lot of big guys. In fact, I was telling Mike Tyson once that I would beat Jack Dempsey. I said, Mike, man, Jack Dempsey, man, was too small. I'd have beat Jack Dempsey. Mike looked at me and said, Stacey, Jack Dempsey knocked out a whole lot of big motherfuckers. You understand that? So I laughed. But it has to do with the makeup, the biological makeup of the fighter, and the mental stability of the fighter, and his personal demons, the things and personal things that is in life. You got to be able to see that and pick it out right away. So I can see it in heavyweight instantly. What he need, mentally, technically, physically, what to deal with. Everybody can't deal with it, so it's easy for me for some reason.
Yeah, they're a different breed, you know.
Yeah, a different breed. And you got to know that. You got to respect that. Yeah. And you train them different. Yeah.
Is there any heavyweight that you train that you really enjoy your time with them, like more so than the others? Like I know you try to enjoy your time with all of them, but like is there one that you're like, man, I'm having a blast doing this?
Well, the two heavyweights that I trained that I really enjoyed and working with, and I enjoyed all of them, but the one that I would run to the gym to work with, I'll have to say Tyson and Tony Tucker. And that's because of their skill levels. That was because of the Tyson's skill level. Okay, my whole thing is, okay, what is he gonna do today? What new move the Mike gonna make today I ain't never seen before? So I run to the gym to see this, and Lord and behold, he come up with something different. So it's always exciting, and also to watch Tony Tucker. His skill level, the things that he would do in the ring, and the moves that he would make was very exciting. Very exciting. I have fun with all these guys, but those two guys are the ones that I would really run to the gym to see because the skill level is so high.
Yeah.
And not only I'm training them, but at the same time they're teaching me. At the same time, I'm seeing things in the ring that I haven't seen before in a big guy. You know, so they're teaching me. And I would love to have trained and worked with Larry Holmes, but I never got that opportunity. I talked to Larry quite a bit. You know, Larry said, "Look, you know, you do double jab and triple jabs." So he changed up on the jab. But anyway, those two guys, Tyson and I'm having fun with Trevor Bryant because I started him out with his first fight. I had a lot of fun with Shannon Briggs. Now Shannon Briggs has never fought up to his potential. He never fought up to his potential. Shannon Briggs is basically one of the smartest fighters ever lived. But what happened to him was when they started training him, he got with different trainers that held him back. They held him down. They held him psychologically. They could work with him technically, but they couldn't work with him mentally. Okay, it's his skill level and his punching power was so great. But his mind was different, and they was trying to hold his mind down to their mind, whatever. But he was the type of guy. He's the type of guy that you get him in shape and let him do his own thing, because he thinks so fast, he thinks so far ahead. But they held him back, so he never lived up to. He never fought up to his psychological potential. Shannon Briggs, but I really like working with him. He's a hell of a puncher too. Yeah. But I really like working with him, and I was trying to break him. I tried to break him through that barrier, and I talked to him. I said, "You got to go in." And even in training, some of the guys said, "You got to, Shannon. You go out to the next round." No. You know what to do. You go out there and do your thing. Okay, I don't have to tell you what to do. Go out there and do your thing. That particular round, you'll see the real Shannon Briggs' potential, because he's not being held back, trying to do what you think he should be doing. He's doing his thing. And he does it best. So I really like working with him. I like working with him. I like Povetkin work ethics. Train hard. Wasn't a big puncher, but he utilized what he had, and it's very easy to work with. Very hard heavyweight. You know, he's excellent to work with. And the Russian heavyweights they're really determined to get in shape. So I like working with a lot of those guys. I had fun working with those heavyweights. Samuel Peters, on the other hand, Samuel Peters, I remember when I saw him fight Vladimir Klitschko, when he lost that fight to Vladimir Klitschko. And Don King had a meeting. He said, "We need a heavyweight." And I said, "Don, the only heavyweight I know can win your world title at this particular time is Samuel Peters." I said, "But he need a lot of work." He said, "Well, you need work." I said, "Yes." So when I got with Samuel, and I told him, I said, "Look, you're not going to do a whole lot of different things in the ring. You don't need to do a lot of different things in the ring, okay? We're going to establish your jab, your left hook, and your right hand, all right? And get in tip-top condition. You're not in shape, son. You're not in shape. You think you're in shape, but you're not." So with that, he went on and he won the world title. And just with that, those few little things,
Basic skills.
and basic skills because of his punching power. And I knew he had a good chin. So and he wanted to come forward aggressive, but he's getting hit too much. So listen, we're gonna work on moving your head, work on your jab, work behind that big strong jab, stepping jab off your back foot, power jab, just like a straight right hand. So work on that hook off the right hand. I said you'll win the title, and he ended up winning the championship.
That was a great breakdown of a lot of the guys you trained.
Yeah.
To kind of by the Shannon Briggs, I wanted to ask you this. So you say he never fought up to his potential.
No.
If he would have ever put it all together, what kind of a champion could he have been at heavyweight at his best?
He'd been a great champion. He could have been a great heavyweight. Now, he was a good heavyweight, but he could have been a great heavyweight. It's all up here. It was all up here, and the people who had him didn't realize that it's up here with him. This is it right here. Let him go. Don't hold him back. Let him free. Let him go free. Let him go free. You end up with a hell of a fighter. But you know you ain't doing this right. You ain't doing that. And it was all it held him back. But I told him, they can't think for you. You think too fast. You thinking too fast. Gotta let you go. It's the same way with Muhammad Ali. When Angelo Dundee had Muhammad Ali, and he told Ali, you got to keep your hands up, champ. You got to keep your hands up, the old traditional way of boxing. But Angelo said he noticed that Ali was getting hit more often with his hands up. So then he decided, you know what? I got to let this guy go. He's a free spirit. I got to let him go.
Yeah.
Show him 2 or 3 things and let him go. And now, then Ali lived up to his potential. His potential because his mind was so much greater. His mind was so much greater than the trainers and the fighters that he was fighting. It was all up here to go along with his conditioning, and his mental strength was the heavyweight championship in the boxing world belonged to me. So that was his mental strength right there. He wanted to be great. He wanted to represent, and he took pride in the belt. Nowadays, guys take a belt and throw it away. So I don't know. I don't want it. But then the belt meant something. It means something today, but psychologically, these guys don't believe it. But it does, because it's a great achievement to win a world championship. I could look at another fighter by the name of, wasn't a heavyweight, Roy Jones.
Yeah.
Roy Jones was a free spirit. Okay, you wind him up, get him in shape, and let him go. If you try to give him the basic fundamentals of boxing, you couldn't fight him. You let him go. Unfortunately, with guys like that, as the speed deteriorates, and they get older, the speed deteriorates, they start getting hit a lot because they don't have the basic defense. Their defense was natural. So now they can't move and shake and bake like they used to, so they started getting hit a lot.
Yeah. The reflex fighters.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got guys like Joe Lewis. You got guys like a lot of guys. Bernard Hopkins can fight way past their prime because of their defensive skills, because of the skills and technique.
Yeah, thank you for that. I wanted to also ask you, being that you're a heavyweight trainer, you have a great insight into heavyweight boxing. Just list for me, give me some, who do you think is top 5 best heavyweights of all time? And why? Let me know why as well.
Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is the greatest heavyweight of all time. Now, I have to say that because of the opposition. Ali fought them all. He didn't duck anybody. I mean, he got ready to fight George Foreman, and Howard Cosell was saying, Muhammad, you shouldn't fight George Foreman. This boy is young, he's strong, he's this and he's that. And they had old heavyweight named Turnbull was Ali's sparring partner, and he was also George Foreman's sparring partner. So Ali had a meeting and said, look, tell me something about what you learned from George. Oh, Muhammad, George is strong, and he hits you with this, and he runs up the hill with bricks and stuff and all this. So Ali said, So Bundini Brown said, get him out of camp, he's a double agent. Ali said, no, I want to be right here, and I want you to be at ringside to fight. I'm going to show you. So Ali fought them all. There's 2 fighters that I know in the world. Opposition was great, and that was my heavyweights. And that was Ali and Evander Holyfield. Look at their records. It's amazing that they last as long as they did with the opposition that they had. So I have to go with Muhammad Ali. That's the greatest of all time. I have to go with Joe Lewis. I have to go with Joe Lewis. I have to go with Tyson. I have to line them up that way.
Okay. What about maybe a guy like Larry Holmes?
Larry Holmes is a great fighter. The thing with Larry Holmes is he come right behind Muhammad Ali. So he still is fighting in the shadow of Muhammad Ali. But Larry Holmes was a great fighter. He was a great fighter. He was, now, you match a young Tyson against a young Larry Holmes, then I got Tyson winning. I got him winning the fight, but it's been a hell of a fight though. So it's, but he was a great heavyweight.
You ain't got no bananas in here, Stacey Stash?
Nah, he was a great heavyweight.
Yeah, it was. I know you talked highly of a guy like Vitaly Klitschko, and then you were telling me you rate him really highly, Vitaly Klitschko.
Well, Vitaly Klitschko is probably the second smartest heavyweight ever been in the ring. Vitaly has a specialty. He has a sight, and he has a psychic, and he can see things. He can see things, and he can do things, and he can do almost anything in the ring. If you notice him, you watch him real close. He has 2 or 3 different types of jabs. It's like I was telling you, Joshua had one type of jab.
Yeah.
Okay. He has 2 or 3 different types of jabs. Okay. He has 2 or 3 different types of right hands. Okay, he could go to the body. He also could do something that most heavyweights can't do. He could fight backing up. The only heavyweight I saw that really fight backing up was Muhammad Ali. But this kid, Vitaly, can fight backing up. If you look at his knockout ratio, you look at his fights, he only lost 2 fights, and those were due to a headbutt and a dislocated shoulder, and he was winning the fight. Even against the headbutt came against Dennis Lewis. But he was winning the fight, so he stopped the fight because the blood was coming out of his eye. But he was ahead on all the scorecards.
Yeah.
Okay, the same thing with Chris Bird, which is a big, good, elusive fighter. He got a dislocated shoulder. So you take a look at Vitaly Klitschko. He doesn't have the publicity and the popularity that his brother had, but I got to rate him second to Ali as far as being smart and intelligent.
Smart heavyweights, okay. Do you think like Vitaly, you would have matched him up with the heavyweights of yesteryear, like he beats those guys, a lot of those guys?
Yeah, I think that Vitaly would have beat most of the guys that Ali boxing, most of the guys he beat. Now he'd have had problems. He had problems with Sheamus. He had problems with Joe Frazier. He had problems with George Foreman. He had problems with those type of guys, big Ernie Terrell. But I give him a good chance of winning. I give him a chance that I would say that he could have become heavyweight champion of the world in any era of boxing.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's high praise.
Yeah.
Very high praise. Is Mike Tyson in your top 5 heavyweights ever? Like
Is what now?
Is Mike Tyson in your top 5
Oh, yeah.
heavyweights?
Yeah, Mike Tyson's definitely in the top 5. He's in the top 5 of the heavyweights. The young Mike Tyson, 20-year-old champion, was unbelievable, and his mental strength was so great. His mental strength was so great that he could look straight through you. He can penetrate your body. He can feel you. He can feel your fear. He can see everything with a 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Mike told me when he got out of the concert, when he got back home from Indiana, he said that Stacey, that jailhouse broke me. I said, what? He said, it broke me psychologically. It broke me. I said, it did? He said, yeah, I'm not the same fighter. Now his skill level was good, and he still was vicious enough to win, but his mental strength has diminished a little bit.
Yeah.
And I could see that, and I could see that a lot of that killer wasn't in him. So I had to do things in the gym to try to bring the killer back. I would say different things, and I would use different sparring partners. I remember I had 20 sparring partners at one time, and I told him, I said, look, go in the ring, you on your way back, don't pull no punches. I can't get another Mike Tyson, but I can always get sparring partners. So we were knocking him out left and right. The ambulance running all day at Don King's training camp. The late, great trainer, Richard Chiquetti, threw his hands up and said, I can't believe it. Oh my God, this man is crazy. He's going to make him kill somebody. but that was to help bring him back. And I would quote certain things to him about boxing. A lot of things that, certain things like what Jack Johnson would say. And, you know, might get irritated during interviews a lot of times, and he would tear up the equipment and throw cameras everywhere. And then I would say, he said, well, you know, I get tired of they always want me to do this and want me to do that. I said, look, I wrapped his hand. I said, listen, you know what your job is? He said, what's that, Stacey? I said, your job is to drive pretty cars, fuck pretty women, keep a pocket full of spending money, and knock out motherfuckers. That's all you're supposed to do right now. Now, when you finish and retire, you can do all this other stuff. But that's your job. I said, that's what the great Jack Johnson said. All right? That's what Jack Johnson, he said, he sure did, didn't he? I said, that's your job. That was Jack Johnson's job. He knew what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he's the first one to quote that. So, it was, you know, different things. So, but anyway, he come back, he won some championships. He did great. He's doing great in life now.
Yeah, it seems like he's in a lot more happier state.
Well, he's older.
Yeah.
He's older, he's mature, he got a beautiful family, got a beautiful wife, he got beautiful kids, and he's enjoying himself, you know. He's just having a lot of fun, and he seems to be at peace, which is good.
Yeah,
It's very hard to live. It's very hard to live on that circuit that he was on at the top like that. Everybody pulling and grabbing and trying to use you and lying on you and all this kind of stuff. So it's very hard. So he's calmed down a little bit, but that's what made him great, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ali, Holmes, Joe Louis, Mike Tyson, Natalia Klitschko. Those are your top 5 heavyweights.
Those are your top.
Okay. All right. So there's that. I want to ask you this too. Most dangerous punchers. Who are they? Who you got?
I would say Big Sonny Liston,
Okay.
Mike Tyson, George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Shannon Briggs, Shannon Briggs, Joe Louis.
Okay. So Shavers, Foreman, Briggs, Liston, and Joe Louis.
Yeah, and I mentioned George Foreman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is why. Why is it, Stacey? Why are they the most dangerous punchers? Because they can knock you out with one punch. Joe Louis can knock you out with a right hand, one shot, a left hook. Tyson can knock you out with a left hook or a right hand, one shot. Okay. Ernie Shavers can knock you out with a right hand or a left hook.
George Foreman.
George Foreman can knock you out with one shot. Shannon Briggs can knock you out with one shot. So those guys are big punchers. Sonny Liston could knock you out with one shot. So those guys, like even Muhammad Ali could knock you out. He had some one-shot knockouts, but if he put 2 or 3 together, Ali had to put, Ali had to put 2 or 3 punches together, and you gone. But these guys, one shot, one punch can take you out of there.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think a guy like Wilder could ever rank that high in terms of punches? Because he has pretty good one-punch knockout power.
Yeah, he has, but he won't make that list.
Yeah.
He has a good right hand, a decent left hook, but he can't make that all-time punching list. He got a long ways to go because you have to understand. Then again, you have to judge it from the opposition. Who is he hitting?
Yes.
Okay, who's Shavers hitting? Who's George Foreman hitting? Okay, I mean, the guys can knock me out with one shot. Yeah, okay, but can they knock out this other guy over here with one shot? So it all depends on who's being hit. I would say if Wilder hit Tyson with a right hand, it was just like a pea shot. You know, come on, they ain't gonna do no damage. Okay, so you got to look at who he's hitting. Even Joshua can punch. He can punch, but could he drop a Ernie Shavers? Could he knock out a Holmes with one shot? So it all depends on opposition.
Yeah.
These other guys can knock out anybody at any time.
You're right. I guess we'll wait and see how it plays out.
Let's see how it plays out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a lot of respect for. I like Wilder. He's a gunslinger. I like a gunslinger, but I knew that he was gonna have some problem with Ortiz. Now Ortiz, we know is a good puncher. Everybody's right. He punched so hard. Like he's punching me. He ain't punching that hard. Now I'll held pads for Tyson. I held pads for Ernie Shavers. These guys is punching. Okay, Tony Tucker wasn't a big puncher. That's why he's not on that list. But he put 2 or 3 together, he's gone. But these guys can really punch. So you got to understand, he ain't been hit with a person that can really, really punch. Now Vladimir is a good puncher with the right hand. So I have to say that Joshua been hit. Okay, Vladimir is a much bigger puncher than Ortiz. Much bigger puncher than Ortiz. So he was down. He got hit by a hell of a shot. And he got hit by the best Vladimir that I ever seen. I think most people said that. I become a fan of Vladimir that night because he fought and he came to win.
Yeah.
He come to win.
In many ways for him, that was like a signature fight that he'd been looking for his whole career. Like even though he was winning and beating guys, that was the fight he needed for his legacy.
that was the fight that he come to win, he come to fight, and he showed his skills. He showed left hooks, right hands, and he was, oh man, I said, oh my God. And I haven't seen him since that fight. I used to run into him down the Heavyweight Factory. But when I do see him, I just come back from Germany also twice. He didn't come to the fight, and I went by his house. I went by his house in Hamburg, but he wasn't there. But I wanted to shake his hand and let him know that I think that that was his best fight, and I really enjoyed that. And that fight is going to determine. Even though he lost the fight, but that one right there is his signature fight because he looked good, and everybody in boxing knew he looked good. That was the best gladiator. That was a dangerous gladiator that night. So, in fact, he could have been champion at any time, in any era that particular night, because that's how vicious it was. And that's at 40 years old. Suppose you fight like that at 25, 28, my God. But yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah.
The heavyweight division is good.
It's in a very healthy place right now.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to ask you, just about here with heavyweights. What do you think of the smartest heavyweights that ever lived? Just give me a couple of names.
The smartest?
Yeah, a couple names.
The smartest heavyweight in the ring that I've seen, I would have to say if I did the top 5, I do the top 3. I would say the smartest would have to be Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, and Vitaly Klitschko.
Vitaly again.
Smart, very intelligent.
Does that go back to like him being able to throw multiple jabs, multiple right hands, and fight backwards? Like,
well, in order to throw those punches, in order to fight backing up, in order to throw those different jabs and those different shots, okay, he has to be smart. Everybody can't do it. He has to be smart and know how to get out of trouble and know how to box. Larry Holmes the same way. He has to be smart to get out of that. Okay. So yes, those 3 are very, very, very intelligent. You know, Ali is very intelligent to maneuver through George Foreman and Shavers and all that. The fighter can't do that. Larry Holmes was down by Shavers and got up and come through all this. So he had to be smart and he had to be a good thinker.
Okay. Would you classify Evander Holyfield as one of the smartest heavyweights ever lived?
Evander Holyfield is one of the smartest, most tenacious, most vicious heavyweight ever lived. Fighter, period. There'll never be another Evander Holyfield. If you look at the fighters that he fought, even in the cruiserweight, my God, this guy was in some wars, man. Yeah. This guy was fighting good fighters. Even when he fought Kwai, I think Holyfield only had 12 fights, and he won the title. I'm going, my God, he put it in there already. And he won. He kept winning. He kept coming back and he fights. So he has to be one of the greatest, especially go to the heavyweight and become undisputed. He has to be one of the greatest fighters ever lived.
Being undisputed, being an undersized undisputed heavyweight champion.
Right.
Is amazing.
He has to be. Now you got good heavyweights. You got Rocky Marciano. You got a lot of good heavyweights. Jack Johnson. You can't count Jack Johnson out. So you can go down that list and come up with a lot of good champions. But for them to fight on this level is a whole different ball game. Yeah. Fight on that level. You got you got it's a lot of good champions.
No, definitely.
Of their era. But in any era, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, because your skills gotta translate through all eras, and so not all guys have that style.
If you had to walk through Muhammad Ali era, you have some problems. You have some big problems. You have some problems with Larry Holmes. So those guys, Tyson, those guys. The old timer told me, I went to New York and I had a kid to fight Tyson, and this kid out of Peoria, Illinois. And I told the guys in front gym, I said, well, I'm going to New York, we're going to fight Tyson. It's just like I had rang the bell and say, okay, everybody come here. The whole gym came. We going to fight who? Mike Tyson. So old Bill Miller, the one who, I started James Toney out, and Bill Miller took him on through the pros. Great trainer, great corner man. That's another guy. As far as left hook, right hand, his skills and all that technique, he knew boxing, but he couldn't teach that. But he was a great corner man. It's like Angelo Dundee is a great corner man. So you got different types of trainers that's good for different things. But anyway, so he told me, Bill Miller told me, he said, that boy Mike Tyson, he gave all the heavyweights trouble in any era. He's the first one I heard this actually say that. I said, yeah. He said he'd been in trouble for all of them. This before Mike even became champion. See, Mike could have been champion at 19 years old because said he was too young.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to handle it. So I remember when Mike was knocking out grown men. He was 15 and 16 years old. Yeah, that's a boy. Putting them grown men out cold. So you got to look at all of that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of heavyweights back to today, like, you know, there's a lot of prospects, you know, already prospects that you look at and you say, man, that guy has something there.
Well, I got a young kid that's a good prospect. Trevor Bryan's a good prospect. I think that the boxing world, on a certain level, they know that he's a good prospect because we've had contracts to fight. Bermain, Stavern Bermain, signed contract. He pulls out. We had contracts to fight Dominic Brazil. He pulls out. We had Big Baby, Gerald Miller. He pulls out. So you look at the opposition saying, okay, we go fight, then we sign the contract, then they pull out. So you look at Trevor Bryan, you look at the gold medalist, the Olympic gold medalist over there.
Tony Oka?
Yeah, he's a good prospect. Got the big boy from the Congo. Oh my God, he's a hell of a good prospect. So you got several young heavyweights that's not known, that's good, that's coming, and they're coming fast. You know, so you got that. You know, another thing you got to understand is this. Today's heavyweights, a lot of these, and fighters period, but in the heavyweight division, a lot of these guys are into big muscles.
Yes.
Ripped up like they models and all this. They ain't got nothing to do with boxing. It doesn't have any, it doesn't make you any, you look good, but it doesn't make you any faster, and it doesn't make you any stronger, and it doesn't make you punching harder. In fact, if it does, it might do the reverse. So you take a look at the guys and the way they look, and I could take these guys right now, okay, and put them in the ring during Larry Holmes era, the young Tyson era, okay, when these guys are fighting 15 rounds. These guys now can't go 15 rounds. 15 rounds, they fall out.
Barely go 6.
Too many muscles. Too much of this, too much of that. So they got away from it. They couldn't fight, especially in the heavyweight division, they couldn't go 15 rounds. They ain't gonna train that hard. They become internet fighters. I call them social media fighters. They love to flex the muscles on social media. Maybe that's the thing now, but they get caught up to become a social media star. Forget about the boxing and the skills and all this. Want to look good, and physique and all that. It ain't got nothing to do with boxing. Nothing to do with it. Maybe it's good for ticket selling. I don't know. But the final judgment gonna be in the ring, and that's the way I see it. And that's the way it is. I always stick with the old school stuff.
The truth always comes out on fight night.
Yeah.
Interesting point you made about the muscles and how when you lift a lot of weight, sometimes you know it actually takes away from your punching power. Because like I mean, I like Jerome. He's a good fighter, but he doesn't seem to have that like elite knockout power despite being how big he is, because he's always like, you always see him like, you know, lifting the weights and stuff. So that's just like an example I see of that.
Well, Big Baby is a little bit better than people give him credit for. Big Baby got some skills. Okay, he has skills, and he's not slow, and he puts his punches together. He can throw combinations for a big man. You know, there was a time you said, well, this guy weighed 290, 300 pounds. He's a big fat man, you know. What is he gonna do? He's that. But I learned, there was a time I learned years ago, I used to promote boxing also. Promoted 300 amateur shows, I promoted professional shows, I promoted subtitles in the professional, I promoted wrestling and this type of thing. I learned, I did a wrestling show in Toledo with Mad Dog Drake, the Midgets, the Wild Simonian, what was it, Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I promoted all that. So they needed a place to work out. So they come to my gym. And I'm watching these guys, the first time I've seen them up close. I'm watching these guys work out. And these guys 400 some pounds and 500 pounds. They reach down there and grab a guy and pick a 400 pound man above his shoulders and dump him on the floor and put him up. And I said, damn, it takes a lot of strength and energy to do this. These guys got to be in shape. So that's when I realized, okay, You can be big, and you can still be in shape. So when I look at Big Baby, he's been big all his life. So I don't write him off because of his size, because of my experience. And if you look at the sumo wrestlers, they run and hit each other, boom, and all that meat and all that. Those guys are in shape. If it wasn't in shape, they couldn't do that. So you look at Big Baby, he's a big boy. He's young, and so he carries his weight pretty good, and he's doing okay. He's winning. He's winning, and he's dominating. So you can't look at him and judge him by his weight. I think his weight I don't think he can stand at the elite class, but he's winning, and he's carrying his weight, and he's fast. I work with him a little bit, and I noticed that he's fast. He's not a big puncher, but he puts his shots together, and he put that big weight on you. He put that weight on you and wear you down, and he's aggressive. He's a very aggressive fighter. He come to fight, so he's a good prospect also.
Okay. Anything else in regards to heavyweights you want to get out there?
Well, I think I've gotten right now I'm working with 4 heavyweights. I got 2 or 3 other heavyweights coming that's top prospects that's coming, and I'm gonna extend my gym. I'm gonna open up another room over here, and I'm gonna put a ring in there, and that particular part of the gym is only gonna be for heavyweights, because the heavyweights got a different mindset. They lack their privacy. They lack all of this. I'm gonna open up there, and I have nothing over there but heavyweights. I'm planning on bringing in a proper heavyweights to see what happens.
Okay. So interesting. So any heavyweights out there, this is the guy you want to come see.
Well, right now we're working on a few. I don't want to call no names, but I got some that's 6'10", I got some 6'6" and a half, 240, 23 years old, 24, 25 years old. I got some Russians, I got some Africans, I got some Americans, and I got a lot of them. So they're calling, and I used to turn down a lot of them, but right now I'm gonna bring them on in here to get these heavyweights right.
Sounds like you got the whole United Nations.
we got it working. I got a plan. I got a master plan. So, Don King once said in a meeting, he said we got to have a heavyweight and we got to have a star. He said if you don't have a heavyweight, you're not in boxing. That's what Don's philosophy was.
That's a good point.
But the heavyweight, you got Joshua drawing 90,000, 80,000 people. He got the personality. He got the look. He got the pretty smile. He's very articulate. He's very marketable. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He's the Muhammad Ali. He's clean cut. He's the guy. He's tall. He's handsome. He's all that. I told you, every 25 years or so, one come along. Boxing needed one. We tried this guy. We tried that guy. So what God did, He blessed us with one. So we got to ride him. That horse will run for a long time.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see how long his reign is, and just who winds up eventually beating him if someone beats him.
Yeah, we I got an old saying I used to something I used to do when Mike Tyson be coming to the gym. I gave him a nickname. I call him the Big Horse. I tell everybody, all right, everybody get it right, because the big horse is coming. He's the big horse. Right now, Joshua is the big horse.
Yeah.
He's the big horse. We got to ride him. And the manager said, man, why you keep calling Mike Big Horse? I thought that's what he is. I remember once we walked in Don King's office, and I was kind of crazy then. Walked in Don's office, I said, everybody stand up, the big horse is here. They looked at me like I was crazy. But guess what? They stood up. Because the big horse. You got to have a big horse.
Yeah.
You got one, now boxing got a big horse. You got to ride it. That's all it is to it. And everybody shares in. All the little fighters, they benefit from the big horse. Because he's a big one now. Ain't no doubt about it. He's a big one.
Absolutely. I had to ask this before we end, but were you around Tyson? Because I was reading an article. Were you around Tyson when he fought Lennox Lewis?
Yeah, I was with him.
Okay. What was that whole fiasco like? 'Cause that was a big fight.
Well, that was the worst day of my life in boxing.
Really?
Yeah, leading up to that fight was the worst. It was unbelievable, the things that we went through. the thing we had to go through leading up to that fight. In fact, I told them that Mike didn't need to fight Lennox Lewis. I said, Mike don't need to fight Lennox Lewis. Mike cannot beat Lennox Lewis. Mike gonna get hurt fooling around there with Lennox Lewis. I see Lennox Lewis has been fighting. He's been busy. He's sharp. He got a good corner. Evander Holyfield is one of the smartest men in boxing. Everything about him at that particular time was, hey, I will defeat Tyson. I could see it and I could feel it. And I made a statement. I said, you should not fight Lennox Lewis. I said, your legacy is in stone. You don't need Lennox Lewis. The money is not going to be there. So why are you fighting Lennox Lewis? And then I think they did a big article in USA Today, and I got a phone call from his new people telling me, you know, I know you did that. I know you said that. And I want to tell you right now that Tyson would never fight for Don King again. And Tyson, I said, listen, it ain't about who Tyson fight for. It's about Tyson and Tyson health.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell you all, that this man's body can't get into condition. He's done. His body cannot condition for this type of fight, this type of punishment. Lennox Lewis is too big, he's too sharp, and he's punching too hard. Mike is out of shape. He's trying to get in shape. We're training, we're doing all this, but his body won't react condition-wise. And mentally, he's not conditioned for it. In fact, we were training in Hawaii. And I had a big old Corey Sanders. The Corey Sanders wanted the bad eye.
Yeah, I remember he fought.
He hit Mike. He hit Mike in training. And I think it was 4 rounds. Mike boxed 8 rounds that day. So after 4 rounds, after they're working out and everything, so Mike said, how many rounds I do? I said, well, you did 8 rounds. He said, I don't remember anything after the 4th round. I said, what? He said, I don't remember anything after the 4th round. So I looked at him and said, you don't remember? He said, no, I don't remember anything. I knew he had got hit with a good shot. So I looked at that and I said, you know what? He ain't got no business in the ring with Lennox Lewis. And 3 weeks before the fight, Mike didn't even train. He come to the gym, he sit there, he got depressed, he sit there and he look, and I'm constantly saying, let's not do this, you know, let's not do this. And then you have to understand that Mike was on this medication, and that medication is a downer. That medication takes you down, and it's a downer is what it is. So they had him on that medication, and normally what we would do when he had his medication, me and Crocodile tell Mike, throw that stuff away before you fight. A week before, don't take that medicine, throw it away. How you gonna train for a fight and you on a downer? Okay. Now I know for a fact when we was in Memphis, Tennessee, for the first time, got to fight Lennox Lewis. For the first time, and since I had been with Mike, Mike sent a word to tell Stacey to come to the house. So I was having dinner. I left. I went to the house. He said, I want you to spend the night in the house. So he was in the bed, asleep, and I'm sitting up in the chair. I'm looking at him, and I'm saying to myself, he know that something is wrong. Okay. I also, our cook, I heard Mike ask him for his medication. He said, where's my medication? And Mike took his medication, and he gave Mike his medication. Okay, if you notice, when Mike was coming to the ring, he was very nonchalant. He was speaking to everybody, hi, was kissing them, throwing kisses, speaking to everybody as if we're walking through the park, you know. And I'm looking at him like, he ain't got it. And walking through the park, ain't gonna get it inside that ring. We going to hell in the night. So why are you shaking everybody's hand? It's because the medication made him like that. Okay. So when he got in the ring, the discrepancy in the corner was, I knew he was gonna get hurt, and they brought in Ronnie Shields to be the head trainer in the corner. Okay, that was a political move. They put him in there to be the head trainer in the corner. I think it was around the 6th round. I saw what's getting ready to happen to him. So I told Ronnie Shields, I said, Ronnie, he's not reacting to what you're saying. Let me have this round. Let me go up front. Let me have this round, because I had a plan. And my plan was, I was going to tell Mike, look, you go out there this round, you throw everything you got. to his head. Everything to the head, okay? If you don't get him, I'm going to stop the fight. Now, that was my plan, but I didn't get a chance to implement it because I was overruled.
Yeah.
I was overruled, but Ronnie Shields said, no, I'm the head trainer. I said, okay, I'm the head corner. I said, okay, go ahead. But that was my plan, to save him, because I knew what was getting ready to happen. And afterwards, you know, it's some family members and some people was pissed off at me. Well, Stacey shouldn't have let Mike get it in. I said, hold it. You got to understand the rules and the law. Okay? You put this guy ahead of me. They put this guy ahead of me. He's the one that's in charge of this corner. Okay? It all falls on him, not me. I couldn't stop it unless I threw a chair up in the ring or something like that. But anyway, I remember telling Judge Mathis after I saw him at the Martin Luther King Civil Rights Museum there. And I was I told Judge Mathis, I said, you know, you have no idea, man. This is the saddest day of boxing, as far as I'm concerned. You have no idea what we had to go through to get to this fight. I said, it's a sad situation. And he said, well, you want to talk about it sometime? Just give me a call. But I never followed up on it. So I just let it go. In fact, this is the first time I really talked about it.
Really? Wow.
Public. I never talked about it. I never talked about what could have happened in the corner and what we tried to do. And you have to understand one thing, man. Boxing is about business. It's about business. And it's about finances. There's so much money riding on the fight. So much money riding on this. So basically, all the thing people wanted to do was get him to the ring. That's all they wanted to do, get him in the ring that night. Okay, he got in the ring that night. People made their money. So okay, but as far as Mike, concerned about Mike, there was basically no concern about his health whatsoever. The only two people that was really hurt that I know was me and Crocodile. Our strength, our motivated coach, but Mike was long gone before he fought Lennox Lewis. He was long gone. I'm watching Lennox Lewis fight Francois Bolter. He's sharp. Mike ain't fighting nobody. Mike's sitting on his ass. And my whole conversation was, hey, why ain't Mike fighting? Why ain't he busy? You know, how is he going to fight Lennox Lewis? He's not sharp. And the time that I told him to try to force the fight, they didn't do it. Now, when he fought Galata in Michigan, I told Mike, I said, Mike, you 225 pounds. You sharp as a razor. You punching hard. Now's the time to fight Lennox Lewis. Let's fight Lennox Lewis now. That will materialize. A year later, Lennox Lewis will fight a year later, maybe a little longer than that. He goes in the ring against Lennox Lewis. And it just was a sad day for boxing, but that's boxing. And on top of that, his body was wore out. It's like a car.
Yeah.
You have to understand, Mike had technical skill, but Mike was a conditioned fighter.
Had a lot of miles on him.
Yeah, everything he threw had kill on it. So it burns him. It burns your body. Your mind, you can't get back in shape like you used to. So your body's not going to absorb those punches. And I could see it. I could see it. I could read it, and I tried to do what I could. I ain't had no power to stop no fight, but it was a sad day for me. But we done lived through it. Mike lived through it, and he's doing real good. Another thing that people didn't realize is that Mike had bad eyesight at that particular junction. Okay, his vision wasn't that good, and I didn't, and that's something that they kept from me. And I happened to be out for dinner one night in Vegas, and this doctor come up to me and say, "Oh yeah, how you doing, Mr. McKinley?" I said, "Who are you?" He told me who he was. He said, "By the way, did you all ever get that surgery done on Mike's eyes?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Surgery? What surgery? What are you talking about?" He said, "You mean to tell me you never?" I said, "Mister, I don't know anything about this." And he said, "Well, he came in to see me. He come in to see me, and he really need to get that done." So I mentioned it to his manager, new managers, and they was like, "Yeah, Stacey, Mike's all right. Okay, we gonna get things done."
Battery died.
Yeah, it's the doctor told me that his vision was bad, and that he needed operation. So I talked to the manager at that time, and the manager wasn't Shirley Finkel, so everybody know. It wasn't Shirley Finkel. But I was talking to his part of his management team about it, and they said, well, we all going to take care of it. They said, ain't no problem. And I recall, I even went to the commissioner. I went to the state boxing commission in Nevada and mentioned it to him that they should have him checked. Because, look, the worst thing you can do is have a tragedy in the ring and you know that something is wrong.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. So you got to look at, I have to look at the outcome of it. It wasn't fair to him. And we don't want the fighters to get. Nowadays, they're a little bit more cautious about fighters and the physicals and making sure that everything is straight. The WBC, WBA, and all the government bodies and commissioners come in. Now they're concerned about the fighter's safety. So that's a good thing. But back then they didn't care. So he had problem with that. And I'm gonna tell you something. Mike was proud of the heavyweight championship belt because he told me, he said, look, I don't want to just fight for the money, just be fighting and losing for the money. I'm not going to disrespect the title like that. So he had the same feeling of respect for the title Muhammad Ali did. He had great admiration for that belt. So he said, I'm not going to fight just to make money and lose. I'm not going to disrespect the belt like that. So he was great. Boxing missing, but he came along at the right time and took the game to a different level. So he's living a good life now, a happy life. So best wishes to Mike Tyson.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts you want to get across to the boxing fans, the boxing world out there about heavyweights or what you got going on?
The heavyweights are coming. Stacey King Cobra is going to bring the heavyweights. They are coming. Any heavyweight that can fight, give us a call.
All right, Stacey McKinley, thank you. It's a pleasure as always.
All right, thank you.